Hey, I'm Liquid Max's younger brother, Minimum. And this past week, Season 2 started in the War Within, and one of the first things I did was jumped into the Liberation of Undermine raid, and I know it's just week 1, but I've gotta say that this might be the greatest raid Blizzard has ever made. Ulduar has always been my number 1, and I'm already considering dethroning it for Undermine. I love it that much. The guild and I went in and we finished the entire raid on normal, and then 5 out of 8 bosses on heroic. So far, I love the fights. My standouts are definitely Sprocketmonger and One Arm Bandit. Sprocketmonger is this insanely hectic fight with so many abilities and things to look out for, and even just when I was looking at the video for this fight, I was laughing thinking of how insane this fight is probably going to be, and sure enough, it was. It's insane, I loved every second of it, and I can't wait to see this on Mythic. One Arm Bandit is a really cool, unique, and fun fight. I love that you can pick how the fight goes in a sense and which abilities you want to deal with. Rick Reverb, Cauldron of Carnage, Styx, and Gallywix are pretty fun too. Some cool mechanics in there. The garbage pile mechanic on Styx is a lot of fun, and it's probably the first time I've ever hoped to get a mechanic because just rolling around and doing that is so much fun. But just in general, the look and the feel of the raid is just amazing. I already gushed about my love about Undermine in last week's video, but this week we got to step inside the Galagio and just wow. I said Undermine looks like Goblin Vegas last week, and the Galagio is the embodiment of that statement. Myself and nearly every guildie were talking about how incredible that portion of the raid was as soon as we got to it, and it's just such a well-designed area and just fits the goblins so well. When all is said and done, if this doesn't end up being the best raid of all time, it will absolutely be in the top 3 or 5 because it's that much fun, at least for me. I'm really excited to spend more time in the raid and experience the rest of the fights on at least heroic. I'm kind of curious to see how much of my love will die down as the weeks go on and this becomes a little bit more repetitive. But it's been a very long time since a raid has come out, and on day 1, I've been in love with it. This week, I'm excited to spend more time watching the Race to World First. Last season, I think I just watched a little bit of Anstrike pulls in that raid. I'm definitely a Liquid boy. I enjoy watching Max and the team do their thing, so I'll be tuning into their streams to see things unfold. With the start of the new season came some delves. So I went through and completed up to tier 9, and that was when I was starting to get a lot of damage done to me. So I stopped there. I could probably do a tier 10, but I'm fine just waiting to get more gear and then doing it at a little bit of a higher item level. At the moment, it's hard to tell a difference in difficulty. I think delves, for the most part, kind of feel where they left off in Season 1, where tier 8s at least aren't too challenging. I'm more curious to see how quickly I'll be able to get to 11s and how those will feel, because in Season 1, they sucked. They were just doing so much damage. There's a couple things related to delves that I did want to mention, the first being that I love the improvement to the candle holding delves. Not having to carry around a candle and regenerate its radius the entire time made this 100 times more enjoyable. If you haven't done it yet, what happens now is that you collect the candle from a box as you need it, and then you throw it down on the ground and then pick it up again and keep moving. It's such a simple and great change that I probably won't be skipping Waterworks when it's bountiful anymore. I hated the candle mechanic that much. The other thing I want to mention is that the experience that Curios give has been like 10x'd, which is incredible. In Season 1, they used to give like 2 to 500 experience for Bran, and now they're giving 2 to 5,000. That's a massive buff and makes them way better to pick up for everyone, not just the folks like me that are trying to squeeze out every bit of experience we can to get him higher level. I'm not loving any of the new abilities Braun has. I'm not sure how many I've unlocked, but none of them really stand out like the few did in Season 1. Overall, I'd say the delves remain as enjoyable as they were in Season 1. I don't hate them, but they're just fine content to do. And then of course the new Mythic Plus season started. I ran through on Friday all of the War Within dungeons on just Mythic 0. I haven't done the other 3 that are available just yet. I don't really hate any of the dungeons so far. I think strong feelings will start to develop as I get into higher keys, which this week I was able to do a couple of 7s in Dark Flame and Cinderbrew, which again, they weren't terrible. My rating from those 2 just got up to 539, so I'm hoping to crack about 1,000 if not more this week. I'm hoping that I do have a bit more time to run keys. It would be nice to kind of get even just a low key done for every dungeon just to get a rating started in everything. So far, the first week of Season 2 was fantastic. I really enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to progressing in the raid, progressing in dungeons, progressing in delves, and experiencing all that new content that I've been looking forward to for a while. But let me know how the start of Season 2 went for you. What are you doing? What are you enjoying? What are you not liking? What did your Mythic Plus rating get up to? And what do you think of the new dungeon pool? From all the content I was doing, I was able to get 5 item level upgrades, so my warrior is sitting at 640 at the moment. I got a trinket off the first boss, the spare keys that he drops. This simmed the best of everything that I got throughout the week, so I just upgraded that to 658, the full upgrade. Then I had some wrists that I was able to upgrade a few times with the remaining crests I had, and I was able to get some more crests after Heroic and upgraded a Veteran Track Cloak to 645. Outside of that, there were a few more things that I did on Thursday. I actually streamed instead of Wednesday. I got a little bit busy on Wednesday, so I had to change the day. But I was streaming to Twitch and YouTube, and the VOD for that is available on this channel if you haven't watched it and you're interested. I spent most of my time in Undermine, again, just finishing up world quests and the campaign where I was able to finish off both the main and side quests. After that last cinematic, I'm pretty excited to see where we go with the Ethereals. Like, Guild was saying that the next raid could be Ethereal Focus, which would be sweet. I love their general aesthetic, so that could be a really fun raid or zone, depending on where we go. During the stream, I was also running Excavation Site 9 a few times to unlock higher level delves and was getting a feel for how they sort of feel. This week, I'll probably end up doing more of that, so again, my plan is to stream on Wednesday around 12 o'clock Pacific. Just more world quests, running through some delves, and maybe seeing if I can get into some dungeons if possible. The other thing that I did on stream that I started the stream with was that I finally got the Dragon Soul Legendary on my rogue. It only took like 1.5 to 2 months, so it wasn't really that long or that challenging. It was just a lot of doing Dragon Soul to farm out a few different things. But I'm happy to have finished that. I've been putting that off for a very long time, so now, once again, the only thing remaining from Dragon Soul is that stupid Blazing Drake. For mounts this week, I was able to get 2 new ones that are Necrolord related. The first is from the Abominable Stitching thing, which is the Bone Sown Flesh Rock. And then the second one is the Bonehoof Taralis, which is from the Tahanta rare in Maldraxxus. Pretty happy to have gotten this. It didn't take too many kills. I believe that was the last Necrolord related rare drop that I'm needing in Shadowlands. I'm still waiting for Famu and Revendreth to drop his thing though, so one day maybe. For achievements, it was another good week. I got 290 more points, so I'm ending it at 44,470. Like I said, I got all the quest stuff done in Undermine, so I'm 100% in that tab once again. I got a collection achievement called Reading Between the Lines, which got me the Going Goblin mode meta in Undermine. I got gold in all the skyrocketing races in Undermine, and then silver in all the breaknecking ones, which is with the vehicle itself. Having done all the War Within dungeons on Mythic, I was able to get the Algari Dungeon Damage Dealer achievement. Gonna need to jump into those on my tank and healer eventually at some point in the season to get the respective achievements for those as well. There were a couple of pet battle achievements I got, starting with Tiny Terrors in Tannan Jungle, which is just to do all the special pets in Tannan Jungle, as well as the Critter and Beast Battler of Dragon Isles. And then the last 2 achievements were a little bit more time consuming, starting with the Abominable Lives achievement, which is just to complete all of the Necrolord weekly quests. So now I think I'm just missing one more achievement for the Necrolord meta, and then one other Necrolord achievement that isn't part of the meta, and then I can switch to the next Covenant. And then lastly, I finally got the Most Minis Wins achievement. This has been such a pain in my ass for the longest time. I think you get most or all of these from the treasures in Mechagon, but you have 1 chance per week per character. And up until this expansion, this was also not account-wide, so it's only for my warrior. And King Mechagon is the hardest one to get, very rare, and I've been getting one of these boxes every week for just ever. I'll always jump into Mechagon real quick, and finally, I got it, so it's finally over. I got that achievement. In other news, real quick, this week I watched Wicked on the weekend. I don't like musicals, and I've never watched The Wizard of Oz, but a friend of mine really wanted to watch it, so we did, and honestly, it wasn't that bad. I actually did enjoy it. The whole musical part, I just still don't get. It just really takes me out of it when people just start singing to each other instead of talking. But the story was enjoyable, and at the end of it, I didn't know, or I forgot, I guess, that there's a second part coming out later this year, and I was legitimately pissed that the movie ended where it did. So, legitimately a good movie, and as far as musicals go, probably the best one I've seen. I haven't seen many, but I would definitely rank that #1 so far. But that's it for me. That's everything that I did last week. Let me know what's going on in your world. What are you doing in Mythic Plus? How are you liking the new raid? Who do you think is going to win the race to World First this season? Whatever you want to talk about, let me know down below in the comments. I'd love to read it. With every new content patch that comes out, there's that nagging feeling in many of our minds about whether or not what we're doing is pointless. If you want to hear me talk about my thoughts about whether grinding is pointless or not, click on the video that's on screen now. And if you like this video or any of my others, if you could subscribe, that would be great. Thanks for watching. I love you lots. Have yourself a fantastic week. I'll talk at you next week. Love you.